Welcome to the Infowars Nightly News. It is Tuesday, December 20th, 2016, and I'm Leanne McAdoo. Here's what's coming up tonight.
Tonight, we look at the aftermath of the Islamic terror in Germany and the assassination in Turkey. Did the Germans arrest the wrong man? Are there political reasons for his release? Or are the German police just clueless? And what's Obama's response to Muslim murder and mayhem? Well, he gets teed off about it.
Good swing.
Then, Facebook, Twitter, and Google are sued by the families of the victims of the Orlando Islamic terrorist for facilitating the propaganda of ISIS. And how will yet another terrorist event affect Merkel and the upcoming German election?
Wir vieles über diese Tat nicht mit der nötigen Gewissheit. Aber wir müssen nach jetzigem Stand von einem terroristischen Anschlag.
All that and more on tonight's Infowars Nightly News.
In case you haven't heard, Infowars has become the most influential media outlet in America. We're making freedom go viral. And now we are proud to announce a new weapon in the epic battle against the globalists. Infowars Prime, where you can watch live high-definition feeds of The Alex Jones Show, plus exclusive insider videos from the Infowars crew and behind-the-scenes action. Go to Infowars.com/app and download today. Infowars Prime is available right now for your iPhone or Android. You will have access to exclusive videos that you can't see anywhere else. And that means live coverage of events and breaking news on location as it happens. You can also take advantage of amazing deals from the Infowars store that are only available for Infowars Prime subscribers. That's Infowars Prime at Infowars.com/app. If you can hear my voice, you are the resistance.
A wave of terror spread across the globe on Monday. World leaders spoke out to condemn these attacks. Here's a message from the President of the United States of America, President Barack Obama, who is on vacation presently, but he took time out of his tea time to give us a word on these attacks. Nope. No, he didn't. No, he did not even take a little time off from his golf game to condemn these attacks. He is on vacation, guys. He's on the taxpayer dime, so he doesn't have time to speak out against these attacks that took place. Now, President-elect Donald Trump is also on vacation. He's also playing golf out at Mar-a-Lago, but guess what? He found the time to release a statement on not one, but both of the attacks that took place yesterday, talking about the assassination of Russia's ambassador to Turkey, as well as the Berlin attack. And, you know, we actually have a president who isn't afraid to speak out against radical Islamic terrorism and call it how he sees it. He is, of course, being condemned for that. Salon.com, they don't like that. They say, Trump blames terrorists for killings in Turkey and Berlin. How dare he? How dare he blame those pesky terrorists for this attack? They say, without backing up his claim, President-elect Donald Trump is blaming Islamic terrorism for deadly violence in Turkey and Germany and vowing anew to eradicate their regional and global networks. Newsflash, Salon.com, you're about to see a real president in action, a real president who can actually take time from his golf game to condemn these terror attacks and be a strong president, be what this country needs to let these terrorists, because it wasn't a driverless truck that hit those people yesterday. It was a terrorist who was driving that truck. To actually have a president who's going to come out and call it like he sees it. You would think that Salon would, you know, start the article, a surprising move. But no, this is what we're going to deal with for the next 4 years, is these kind of attacks on everything that Donald Trump says. So CNN also took that same tactic as Salon, responding to the Islamic terror attack in Berlin by blaming conservatives. That's right. At least they didn't blame the driverless truck. But this was an article that appeared on the news' network's front page underneath the words, "The Fallout of Fear." It was subtitled, "Attacks Fuel Far Right's Assault on Democracy." So they didn't really get to how importing over 1.5 million Muslim migrants, a significant portion of which are in alignment with jihadist ideology. How is that an assault on democracy? I do not know. But according to the writer David A. Andelman, the right wing's ability to capitalize on the attack is potentially more pernicious than the attack itself. This is an attack that killed at least 12 people, injured dozens more. But they think the seemingly endless sight of mangled, bleeding bodies on the streets of major European cities isn't the main problem, but right-wingers who are being proven correct that this open borders, open immigration policy is a big issue and that we are having an issue with jihad and that we are a world at war. So this is Paul Joseph Watson. He goes on, worrying that the fallout from the attack will have the impact of upsetting the ruling elite. God forbid. So he's taking this tack that the world's ruling elite are going to be really upset by this, and this could actually undermine Angela Merkel's chances of being reelected as a chancellor for the 4th time. So that's what they're all worried about. And if you look at the pictures of Angela Merkel, she doesn't, she's beside herself. She went to the site of this latest terror attack, but you can tell the look on her face. She understands that these bodies are on her. So the article also goes on to say, now people are wanting to return full control over their nation's security to their own security forces and not the United Nations, not the global order that we've set up. So they're seeing this global order being shaken to the core. And of course, they're right. The German far right is actually blaming Chancellor Angela Merkel. She's facing backlash, and they say these are Merkel's dead. These are your dead. This is on you. Klaus Bouillon of Mrs. Merkel's CDU party said, "We must state that we are in a state of war, although some people who want to see only the good cannot see." So, even people in our own party are saying, look, we're in a state of war. This is the 7th terror attack that has happened in Germany this year alone, the 7th. And that's not even including all of the rapes, the rise in crime. So this is a huge issue, and Germany is starting to push back against these policies. But don't worry, Angela Merkel, they're beginning to install police barriers around all of these Christmas markets to protect everyone at the Christmas markets. They're not going to put any barriers around their own country, just around everything that's inside of the country. Kind of like we're doing here, I guess. But people are wondering, where is this Berlin Christmas killer? Because apparently the German police have freed the Pakistani suspect that they had detained and questioned for more than 12 hours. But they say, we have the wrong man. The perpetrator is armed, he's at large, and he can cause further damage.
Well, it's the day after the terror attack in Berlin. It's obvious to everybody that it was a terror attack, but there is a political dimension to this as well as a police investigation dimension to this. It's interesting to look at the way the different media have reported this. We've seen some media be fairly even-handed as they report that there was an eyewitness who saw someone get out of the cab, the truck, after the event and followed them with their cell phone and reported their location to the police, stayed behind this person until the police got there and arrested them. But now the police are saying they don't think they've got the right person. And you've got some media outlets like CNN that don't even mention why this individual was ever arrested. And of course, he's from Pakistan. He's only been in Germany for about 6 months. But they go with the narrative, the police don't know who this is. Again, trying to pretend that this isn't a refugee. If it is a refugee, it is over for Merkel. You can see the headlines on Drudge showing Merkel with blood on her hands. And yes, she does have blood on her hands. She's been a part of subverting the safety of the German people, bringing anyone in who wants to come in without doing any vetting. And that's what's really behind this. If people have seen these attacks that have happened all over Europe through the last year. In Germany, we had the axe murders on the train committed by a refugee. The police are saying they don't believe this guy did it, in spite of the fact that there was an eyewitness who followed him out of the taxi because he said he didn't do it. That's one of the things they said at first. Then they said, well, he doesn't have a gun on him. And there was the owner of the taxi, of the truck, was found dead in the cab. He had been shot, the Polish owner of the truck, the driver. And so this guy didn't have a gun. Well, it isn't a given that in every terror attack, the guy is going to have the gun on him, or that he's going to go through with this all the way to the point of a suicide bomb or suicide shootout. Obviously, the person who did this, and we all know that it was Islamic terror. That's why they're saying, well, we think he would have stuck around and finished this off. Well, obviously, the person who did it didn't do that. Now, there's a third thing that may indicate that maybe he is not the person they're looking for, and that there is someone still at large, and that is they found DNA in the blood that was in the cab that they said did not match the suspect. They didn't go into a lot of detail, so I have questions. Was this guy cut? Did they expect to find his blood in there because he was bleeding? There was going to be obviously blood from the truck driver who was shot. Was there blood in there that didn't match this guy's, didn't match the victim that's in there? So maybe it indicates that there's a third person who might be at large with a gun. We don't know. See, the problem is the German police have not been very upfront about these investigations, have they? Remember a year ago, New Year's Eve in Cologne, what happened there with the migrants in Cologne and how they tried to cover that up for the longest time, then continued to push back against it? Go back to 1972 with the Munich attacks against the Israeli athletes there. We had some Muslims come in and kill them. That went on for a very long time. It was amazing. If you go back and you look at the documentaries that have been done about that, it was amazing how incompetent, how pulled back the police were, the German police, because they don't want to come on too strong because of the Nazis. And it was just last year, 43 years after the event, that we learned that they tortured the Israeli athletes there during that 20 hours they held them captive, even castrating one of them in front of the other people that were being held hostage. So we have a German government that has a tendency to be very weak, to try to cover up things for political reasons. And they're doing this, I think, and the openness to these refugees and the reluctance to criticize them, I think, goes back to the Nazi legacy that they want to try to distance themselves from, and rightfully so. And yet they're doing the wrong things. Remember, the first thing that Adolf Hitler did was to ban private ownership of guns. No matter how many police you have, no matter how competent they are, they can't be everywhere at once. You don't want to create a police state. You don't need to create a police state. You need to have the people take back their freedom, take back their dignity, and take back their right to protect themselves and undo the very first thing that the Nazis did, which is taking away guns from private citizens. For Infowars.com, I'm David Knight.
Well, the FBI has released the search warrant today that detailed exactly why they reopened the investigation into Hillary Clinton's emails. They, of course, discovered on the shared computer of serial sexter Anthony Weiner and his estranged wife, Huma Abedin. Now, the FBI believed that Huma's laptop computer did have evidence that she and her boss, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, mishandled classified information. This was according to that search warrant, and it also shows that the basis agents had for upending the presidential election. The agents were also hoping to see if anyone had used the laptop to hack into the Clinton emails. So here they have cause to believe that there was classified information on this laptop. Of course, this is information that belongs to, it's owned by the U.S. government, and this laptop was never authorized to store this information. So this is why they upended the presidential election. And here we have a lady who has the gall to try to get America all in a tizzy about the Russians allegedly hacking into our election.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is just breaking. The FBI documents in relation to the investigation of Anthony Weiner's emails in association with Huma Abedin and Hillary Clinton's emails has just been released. This is a heavily redacted document, however, and the judge who ordered the release of the document even says in his court filing that any identifying information about Weiner or Abedin be scrubbed from the warrant and other related documents before they were made public. So again, a judge orders that the FBI documents in relation to the email investigation of Anthony Weiner, of course, allegedly sexting a 15-year-old girl. This also worked in cooperation with, in a way, the Hillary Clinton email investigation. Was she deleting emails? Were they on Anthony Weiner's server? And it all kind of tied together. But The document, the FBI document, a judge has ordered the unsealing of that document, and now that is available for your viewing. Of course, though, this is a heavily redacted document ordered by the judge, and I'm not sure if they're going to allow us to know too much information as far as their investigation is concerned. But it's interesting to see, as all of these emails are being investigated, Anthony Weiner is being investigated. We've seen the WikiLeaks emails, so we've seen what they may be looking at for an investigation. My question now is, what justice is going to come of this? What justice is going to come of Anthony Weiner allegedly sexting a 15-year-old girl? What about all the emails that Hillary Clinton deleted? What about in the emails that we've seen, the pay-for-play programs that they've been instituting, as well as the collusion with the media? Is the FBI going to do anything about that? But you can look at their own documents here and see at least what they were looking into or what they found when looking into Anthony Weiner's email. This is Owen Schroyer for Infowars.com.
According to a report released Monday by the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee, the Department of Homeland Security and the Justice Department have spent collectively more than $95 million on secret cell phone tracking technology. They own more than 400 cell site simulators across the country. These can be used to zero in covertly on the locations of cell phones. And so this congressional report reveals just how many cell site simulators these federal agencies own. And they're also recommending lawmakers adopt a national standard to govern use of these devices by local and federal law enforcement agencies. So it goes on to just say how many of the different government agencies own each of these cell site simulators, how they're being used. It doesn't indicate the specific type of the devices, but it does kind of give the individual costs of each. So just kind of giving you a little back information here. These cell site simulators mimic cell towers to trick cell phones to connect to them. It lets investigators obtain identifying information about the phones and their locations. Law enforcement officers often deploy these by hauling them in vehicles. They drive through neighborhoods looking for suspects' phones, scooping up data of cell phones of passersby in the process, or of course, getting into your homes as well if they're driving by. So Homeland Security and Justice adopted policies in 2015 requiring that law enforcement obtain warrants in most cases before they deploy these cell site simulators, but there really is no standard policy on the use of these devices by your local authorities. So now they're recommending that we do set some standards here for how our rights are being violated every single day. And the report is also saying that these non-disclosure agreements are done away with altogether. The non-disclosure agreements are agreements made between the makers of these cell site simulators and these departments that are using them. And it's this agreement that says you'll never reveal that you have purchased these. You'll never say where you got them from, no kind of information. And so rather than disclose the fact that police are actually using these cell site simulators, a lot of prosecutors have been required to abandon criminal charges altogether rather than give it up how they were able to obtain this information. So, you know, this is a huge scandal. So luckily, this is a very good congressional report kind of giving some standards here rather than just allowing these agencies to violate our rights every single day and let criminals get off if they happen to ask the right questions. And another precedent has been set this month, of course. We are seeing across the country, police are executing these no-knock raids where they'll just throw a flashbang grenade into your home, injuring people in some cases. Well, now a man in Corpus Christi, Texas, is found not guilty for shooting 3 cops during one of these no-knock raids. The jury found him not guilty.
3 years ago, the Congress in the National Defense Authorization Act repealed the law that had been on the books for decades, barring the CIA and other agencies from engaging in domestic propaganda and disinformation. Over the weekend, they passed the Countering Disinformation and Propaganda Act that funds $160+ million to this new organization that will, quote, discover and counter with its own disinformation alternative media that they dub fake news. At the very same time, we see mainstream media claiming that Trump, myself, Tucker Carlson, you name it, are Russian agents, and that the American people really wanted Hillary Clinton, but the Russians somehow hacked in, and that's why Trump won. Yes, we've gotten Trump elected, but they're openly trying to overthrow that. Now more than ever, InfoWars needs your prayers and your support, and I need you to take the articles and the videos that are on the site and realize you're the reason we're having such an effect. You're the power of InfoWars. Get those articles, get those videos, get those special reports out to everyone you know. As we approach Christmas, I'm not even supposed to say that word now, our country's under such incredible thought police tyranny, it's important to be thankful, and I am extremely thankful to all of you that have prayed for us, that have spread the word about the broadcast, that have supported us, that have defended us, and that have financially supported us. We go out and search for the very best products, and we also develop amazing products and then bring them to you at very competitive prices. So when we have a sale, it really is a sale. That's why this week through the 17th, we can guarantee you'll get delivery before Christmas. Again, if you order by this Friday, the 17th, and you will get store-wide free shipping at InfoWarsStore.com. And on top of that, some of the biggest discounts of the year. 30% off Living Defense Parasite Cleanse, 50% off Colloidal Silver Bullet, and free shipping. That is just an incredible deal. Brain Force Plus, now with 20% more in each bottle and 30% off. $19.95, can't beat that deal. Winter Sun, Vitamin D3, 25% off. Survival Shield, X2, Nascent Iodine, again, an amazing 30% off. Bio True Selenium, 30% off, and that's just some of the specials. Check them out today at InfoWarsStore.com or InfoWarsLife.com, or call toll-free. The great crew will answer your questions, tell you about some of the other specials, and take your order if you'd like. 888-253-3139. And finally, from myself, Alex Jones, and the rest of the InfoWars crew and my family, I want to wish all of you a blessed and Merry Christmas.
Electrify your day with Secret 12. It's like lightning in a bottle. We all have days in which we just can't seem to perform at the level we'd like to. InfoWars Live Secret 12 is designed to naturally energize your body and mind with 2 great tasting and super high quality forms of vitamin B12. Proper vitamin and nutrient intake is essential to keep your body functioning at optimum levels. The reality is, it's hard to take in the proper amount of vitamins we need each day with our modern diets. Secret 12 by InfoWars Life is an easy way to naturally upgrade your vitamin B12 intake and support your body's natural systems. It pairs 2 forms of vitamin B12 into one explosive formula. Vitamin B12 supports healthy energy levels through red blood cell formation and aiding in the body's natural processes, but it also assists with many other functions of the body. Electrify your mind and body and take your health to the next level. Experience the power of Secret 12 at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com.
Trending at InfoWars right now, the communist Chinese suppress Christians while reaping profits from Christmas exports. Clifford Cunningham has the story. So the atheist government of communist China is cracking down on Christians domestically, while at the same time profiting heavily from the holiday by exporting you cheap Christmas crap. They have actually exported approximately $1.1 billion in Christmas tree ornaments to the United States in just the first 9 months of the year alone. That is 92% of all decorations imported, including 87% of Christmas lights. That is a lot of crap. Now, despite the fact that the communist Chinese are reaping massive profits from Christmas, the ruling communist elite routinely suppress any Chinese citizens who practice Christianity. They've banned travel for anyone who wants to travel abroad for religious purposes. They make anyone who wants to have an in-home Bible study jump through hoops to make sure they're not setting up a church. Police have also raided pastors. They target them, they follow them, and they're known for tearing down crosses wherever they are found. Now, the official government census records the number of Christians in China at 28 million, or about 2% of the country's population. The number, of course, could be much larger, as many people there are afraid to announce that they're Christians because they fear persecution. The very first documented visit by Christian missionaries was in 635 AD. So Christianity has a long history there in China. Following the Chinese Civil War, government associations have been founded to directly supervise the country's various religions. They've even recently tried to commandeer reincarnation to ensure that the next Dalai Lama would be born under the ruling Chinese class. But the harshest of animosity has been reserved for practitioners of the Falun Gong spiritual movement. On July 20th, 1999, following rising tensions with the government, Chinese security forces arrested thousands of Falun Gong leaders and outlawed the organization. Practicing Falun Gong in public has been banned, and since that ban, hundreds of thousands of Falun Gong practitioners have been arrested and jailed without trial. They've been forced to endure torture and forced labor. Many others have been killed, and their organs have been harvested by the Chinese government. So understand that by continually purchasing all of this cheap Chinese crap that you do not need is tantamount to buying blood diamonds. You're actually helping to prop up this oppressive regime. Now, I know that it's hard to resist cheap imports, but there are ways you can get your decorative holiday fix. For instance, most people clean out the house following every single holiday, and you can find some really great items at your local charity shop, not in a big box store that's filled with cheap Chinese imports. You can check out this article at Infowars.com, and I am Leanne McAdoo reporting for Infowars.com.
Hey fellow white guys,
It's about to be a new year.
and here's a few things we think you could do a little bit better in 2017.
Well, that's nice coming from these guys at MTV who don't know me, and many of which are white. But apparently this is the MTV's New Year's resolution for white people, or white guys more specifically, in 2017. You know, it's funny. If a white guy did this about black people, it would be the most obscene, racist thing ever, and they would be the first ones to point that out. But they're more than happy to do it about white people, and that's fine. Go ahead and do it about me, because you know what? I'm going to use this for my entertainment. So let's go ahead and listen to MTV's 2017 New Year's resolution for white guys.
First off, try to recognize that America was never great for anyone who wasn't a white guy.
Try to recognize that America was never great for anyone who wasn't a white guy.
Well, you know what? I actually decided to take a second here at the desk, and I made a little list of the names that came to my head of all the non-white guys that America was great for. Here's just a short list for you. LeBron James, Tiger Woods, Lil Wayne, Yao Ming, Denzel Washington, Beyonce, Oprah, Aziz Ansari, Mindy Kaling, Nori Jones, most likely you, and how about Barack Obama and his family? So there's just a short list of the non-white guys that America has been great for. So tell me about how America's only been great for white guys again. That's what I thought.
Can we all just agree that Black Lives Matter isn't the opposite of All Lives Matter? Black lives just matter. There's no need to overcomplicate it.
It actually seems like you are the one that is overcomplicating this, because All Lives Matter actually includes Black Lives Matter. You are the one that wants to exclude Black Lives Matter from the All Lives Matter protest or saying, whatever you want to say. But here's the thing about that. The All Lives Matter protest was to be more inclusive, but more it was for the aborted babies out there who get aborted by the thousands of millions of Americans have been aborted. And it's a fact here that it's more dangerous for a black baby in the womb than it is walking around on the streets. So your protests for Black Lives Matter, thinking that the police are out to get black people, you don't even realize that the All Lives Matter protest is to protect the unborn babies. And you can talk about black babies, where again, it's more dangerous in the womb than it is out on the streets. So you won't recognize that fact about the All Lives Matter protest. But again, the ultimate irony of this is that All Lives Matter includes Black Lives Matter. You are the one that is complicating it. Let's roll to the next one.
Also, Blue Lives Matter isn't a thing. Cops weren't born with blue skin, right? I mean, yeah, they weren't born blue.
Blue Lives Matter isn't a thing. Well, how is Black Lives Matter a thing? People protest and then put signs on their car and yard? Okay, that's what's happened with Blue Lives Matter too. People have protested and put signs on their car and yard. So I guess it is a thing. But wait a second. only hundreds of police officers die in the line of duty every year. And now we've seen multiple innocent police officers slain here in 2016. So how is Blue Lives Matter not a thing? Oh, but then you go and make a joke out of it saying, oh, no one has blue skin. So wait, are you here making a joke, or are you here making a video about how white people are the worst things in society right now, and you need to tell them how to resolve themselves in the next year? So what are you doing here? Are you making a joke? Are you making a joke about Blue Lives Matter when cops actually died? If I make a joke about Black Lives Matter, you take it personally. This is the ultimate hypocrisy here, folks. Let's roll to the next one.
Stop bragging about being woke. Stop saying woke.
I am woke. I mean, let me tell you something. I am the most woke individual that any of these people have ever met. Maybe if you could get a little more woke, you might have an idea what's going on. But I mean, I am just woke. I am sitting in this chair. I am so woke. I am woke as you know what. I am woke, 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 woke. Let's roll to the next one.
Learn what mansplaining is, and then stop doing it.
Now, let me explain something to you. You have been brainwashed by the liberal media and the liberal universities, and now you think that white men are the worst thing in society. And you know what? You might want to point to a few corrupt white men. That's perfectly fine. It has nothing to do with skin color. You are the people who want to end racism while you're probably the biggest public racists in the world. So does that mansplain it for you? Let's roll to the next one.
Feel free to take Kanye West, though. You guys can have him.
You know what you did, Kanye.
Oh, yeah, Kanye, you know what you did. You were trumping while black. You can't do that, Kanye. Didn't you see? The liberal media told you that Trump is racist. All these people are telling you how the white man is bad. Trump is a white man. He's the bad man. How dare you, Kanye? How dare you? Let's roll the next one.
Please, because 2016 is bad. 2017 can't be worse than this, all right? Because this is bad.
And this is the ultimate coup de grace for me. President Barack Obama has been in office for 8 years, the first black president. And you're sitting here complaining about the final year of his presidency. So what's going on? What's the problem here? Black Lives Matter, but wait a second, a black life is in the White House, and you're up here complaining about how it's the worst it's ever been. So then what's the problem? Are white men the problem? Is a black president the problem? No, the problem is the lying, corrupt media that has put us into this divisive, polarized society where these people have no idea how they've been brainwashed into thinking that the white man is the biggest problem in society in America today. So here's the thing. I'm white, I'm a male, and in 2017, I'm gonna have plenty of New Year's resolutions to better myself and to better my fellow humans. But I'm gonna tell you something right now. I'm not gonna be intimidated by some nitwits on MTV telling me I need to be better because I'm a white man. Here's an idea for you. Why don't you quit looking at people based on the color of their skin? That's how Martin Luther King wanted it. So maybe it's time for you to read a history book, do a little research into Martin Luther King, and then rethink your 2017 white male resolution New Year's video. This is Owen Schroyer for Infowars.com. I'll see you, the same person, in the new year.
More than 20 years ago, when I started Infowars, I was a fitness addict. As time went on, my metabolism slowed down. I quit working out. I was working 18 hours a day, and I gained right at 100 pounds. I started to exercise really hard again, and I started to try to eat healthy. Started taking third-party supplements. Started seeing some more gains. But when I started working with Dr. Group and some of the other top formulators in the country, they said, Alex, it's all about trace elements and things that the population is absolutely deficient in. Boom! Weight started pouring off. Toxins started coming out of my body. Then, by early 2016, I was in the best shape of my life since I'd been in really good shape in my 20s. But the election heated up. I started working 14, 15, 16 hours a day. But more importantly, I stopped taking the supplements because we rearranged the kitchen and somebody took the Lazy Susan off the kitchen table where I took stuff every morning, and I just kind of forgot about it. It was out of sight, out of mind. And so then I realized this morning, I said, we're going to put the Lazy Susan back on the table, and I'm going to start taking it religiously again. And I'm going to work out like I've been the last few weeks at the same level. It's the holidays, so I'll probably eat more. And whatever the results are, I'm going to publish the findings. It's December 5th, 2016. We're only like 25 days from 2017, and I want to invite all of the info warriors of every race, color, and creed that bleed red blood and love liberty, justice, and truth to make our bodies great again. One of the most common questions I get is, you've changed the whole radio TV model. How did you do it? Did an ad agency teach you that, or what book did you read? And the answer is, it was trial and error. I promote products that I personally use, like the nutraceuticals at InfoWarsLife.com. And it's the same thing for this promotion. I didn't get this from an ad agency. I didn't just think this up. I was sitting there. I'd gained probably 10, 15 pounds because I'd gotten out of the habit of taking the supplements in the last few months with the election. And I was thinking, wow, I need to religiously take these because I'm promoting these things. It's making me healthier. And if I'm not taking them, you know, I'm fatter, plus people aren't going to buy the product. So that's where the promotion comes from, is purely from reality. I put the Lazy Susan back on the table. I'm religiously taking the products. And in just 1 week, I thought I'd lose 2 or 3 pounds. I've lost 5 pounds religiously taking just, 4 or 5 of the products. It's amazing. InfoWarsLife.com products are incredible. Go read the 5-star reviews for yourself. And to be clear, I'm exercising the same amount. It's the holidays, so I'm eating pumpkin pie, pecan pie. I ate a candy bar last night. I mean, quite frankly, I eat more junk during the holidays like everybody else. So I'm eating worse. But because I've got these trace elements, or whatever it's doing in DNA Force and X2 and Super Male, I have lost 5 pounds. It's incredible. I thought I might lose 10 to 15 in a month. If this continues, it'll be 20. But generally, it's more dramatic up front. This is an experiment. Everybody's watching. We'll see what happens. This is part 2. Next week, part 3. That's a good point. We just cut there, and Rob Dew said, hey, Alex, I know you don't follow a script, but you might want to add to people, we're running some of the biggest specials of the year until December 17th. That's the last day that you can get your order in and have guaranteed shipping anywhere in the United States. And we have some of the biggest specials of the year. 50% off many of the nutraceuticals. The lowest discounts, 25%, 30% off X2, huge discounts and free shipping store-wide on every product, thousands of items. And on top of that, if you sign up for auto ship, an additional 10% off. And I'm going to do one more bad thing because I'm politically correct, or I guess I'm politically incorrect. And that's say Merry Christmas to everybody. Thank you all for your support. You're awesome.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as you're probably aware by now, a massive attack on a Christmas market in Germany resulted in 12 people dead, 48 people injured. At least those are the numbers we have right now. And now the German citizens, well, they want answers. Not only do they want to know who did it, resulting in a major manhunt right now, but also they want to know why these events continue to happen in such similar fashion. A German state minister has now said that Germany is in a state of war. I'm joined by Maggie Howell in studio now. Maggie, what do you think is going on in Germany right now? They say they're at war, but, you know, political correctness says, well, we can't really say that.
Well, I think that this minister couldn't have said it better. You know, these are Merkel's dead, but if you say that these are Merkel's dead, that she has blood on her hands, you're a part of the far right because you're criticizing her open-door immigration policy that ultimately leads to attacks like this when you have a mass number of people that are not vetted. And the Sun, it's really annoying to me, Owen, because they put this article up, Germany's facing the biggest rise in right-wing support since the 30s. So they're basically saying if you love your country, if you question Angela Merkel, if you question her policies and her politics, you are a Nazi. So that's how they're framing this already. And it looks like they don't even know who did this. They released Navad B, the original suspect, the 23-year-old Pakistani. They're claiming that there's a terrorist that's armed, that's still at large. They're raiding this airport with 13,000 migrants in this makeshift camp, trying to find out who actually did this. Meanwhile, we've got 12 people dead. Why are they dead? Because they went shopping at a Christmas market, 50 people injured, most of them critically injured. And you see the pictures coming out of this, where this one man in particular breaks your heart. He was dragged by the lorry. His body was underneath the truck. And yet Merkel, we just don't really know what's causing this. I mean, it's really unfortunate. I'd hate to think it was one person that we let in.
There's no pattern here.
No, not at all. And if you say so, well, you're going to be charged with hate speech, you Nazi. Okay, really.
It does seem, though, that there are more people willing to go and, open up this rhetoric talking about the migration policy being the big cause of all these terror attacks and all the unrest and the clash of civilizations. But it's interesting, you talk about the powerful images that came from the scene of the Lori attack, truly brutal. But also there's some powerful images in this Sun story. They've got 13,000 migrants in this old airport. And obviously you have to wonder, okay, well, all these migrants are flooding the border. We've seen these images. Where are they going? Where are they going? Well, this kind of shows you. This is the migrant camp that they're housing these people in. Now, obviously, we're humanitarians. We want, refugees to be helped. We want them to be safe. We understand what has caused the destabilization of that region. However,
that's right.
This is something that now you talk about Germany, the state minister saying we're in a state of war. Well, are they harboring the very people that they're fighting in this camp?
It's utter chaos. The policies are so run amok. And Nigel Farage, he sent out this tweet. He said, look, this is Merkel's legacy. Here you go. This is it right here. The unvetting. Do you remember the policy she had in 2015? If you could make it to the Hungarian border, we're going to let you in. And by the official count, it was 900,000 people. They don't really know. Owen, there isn't an official record because the process was so hurried and so rushed. They were letting people in, flooding through the border. And this person, this Navad B, this Pakistani, he actually was on Interpol's list for a sex crime in Germany, not deported. Nothing happens to you. You and I have talked about this time and again on InfoWars. The mass rape crisis going on in Germany, the mass assault crisis going on in parts of France and Germany, and it's swept under the rug. It takes an attack like this for us to even be able to cover it at length because it becomes global news. But if we're just talking about a 10-year-old boy who was sexually assaulted at a swimming pool, well, that's not really news. But this, we really can't ignore this. I'm going by the mainstream media, of course. In their definition of what's really news, but they're not even calling a spade here. And the kicker for me, right-wing support since the 1930s. Oh yeah, don't you dare question Merkel, you Nazi. That's where all of the direction for the news is going for the day. And we still have somebody at large. So that's it.
And imagine if you're a German police officer or inside Germany, all this is going on, and you're sitting here. You're scared to go shopping for Christmas. You're scared to send your daughters out alone.
Right.
You're scared because, well, it's just
not your daughter,
dangerous.
your mother's. Your 80-year-old mother is not. Nobody is immune from this. And look, this is not an attack on refugees for me. This is a counterattack because I see the attack on Christianity. I see the attack on Western civilization. It makes me very angry. I hate doing stories like this because it is what it is, and yet we can't actually say that. We can't stand up. I happen to be a Christian. If you're not, that's fine. But I don't like this. I mean, it was clearly targeted. We're talking about a Christmas market mowing people over for being in the vicinity. We covered this last week on InfoWars too. There was a 12-year-old boy that stuck 2 bombs outside this Christmas market, couldn't effectively blow it up. I'm not sure if it's the same market, but Christmas market in Berlin as well. And 50,000 Christian statues have been defaced. We talked about that in Germany. Somebody going around smashing crosses, Christ on the cross, for example, breaking the arms off of statues. And there's a war going on. There's a war going on for symbolism. There's a war going on for anybody celebrating Christmas. And there's Merkel just laying a white rose going, I hope it's not who we think it is. Vote her out. It's time to take a stand for your own civilization. It's time to say, you know what? We love our country. We're taking it back. And we believe in our own customs and our own civilization, and we're not letting it be overrun. It's as simple as that.
Well, and I got to say, again, if I'm a German citizen, I see the images from the lorry that went through the Christmas market. Then I see the images of this refugee camp today that houses 13,000 migrants. And I'm just scratching my head thinking, what the hell is going on? Whose policies are these? What happened to my Germany? Okay, so you start to dig and you say, okay, well, there's been destabilization in the Middle East, and now all these people are flooding our borders. Okay, so you know what? We want to help them. We want to bring them in. Okay, but then you would think these people would be grateful that Germany brought them in, housed them, got them out of their war-torn areas. But instead, what you're seeing is a lot of these migrants cross over the border and they're bitter. And they're violent, and they want to disrupt society. And then because of the utter chaos and the numbers of them, and they can't actually get them into any systems, they just kind of float around. They just kind of get through the seams and the cracks. And then this kind of stuff, you know, just continues to happen. So what do you do if you're Germany? Do you say, you know what, enough of all of you, figure your own troubles out? Or do you continue to use this policy that is threatening the safety of your nation? And I think the German people are going to speak in the next election.
I hope they do. 4 months away, if I'm not mistaken. And look, again, this is not an attack on refugees. You know, my heart bleeds for these people. You look at the photographs of Aleppo, those children, those orphans. It's a despicable thing, you know, and unfortunately, our policies, our State Department, our leadership had a hand in destabilizing Syria. You know, President Obama made the case to go to war with Syria and invade them in 2013, but he didn't have the public support to do so. Can you imagine? And the humanitarian crisis that unfortunately U.S. politics had a hand in their destruction, and this is not about blacklisting or shaming a specific people for being a refugee. This is about an attack, a visible attack on Western civilization, on Christianity, on the German people, and unfortunately, they have a leader that will not acknowledge it and has a policy that will punish anybody that speaks out against it.
Well, and whether or not you think that these leaders are consciously doing this or not, they are destabilizing multiple regions now. So they're going to go and destabilize the Middle East. We've covered this. You just talked about Syria. We know what's going on there. But now, I guess in a social justice warrior mindset to try to fix their wrongs or to just try to help these people, I don't really understand it. Or is it an effort to destabilize their own region? Because that's what's happening now. Their own regions in Europe are becoming destabilized because of this mass flow of migrants.
That's right. And you know what? Again, people need to speak up. This is not about some alt-right movement from the 30s. This is not about an attack on Merkel and her failed policies. This is about saying enough is enough. We have had enough. We're taking back our country. Look, here in the States, and I want people listening to us that are global to be encouraged because, we stand with you and we support you. We love your civilization, your culture. We want to see it protected. And we understand that you have a humanitarian heart, which has possibly been taken advantage of. And we just want to make sure that people understand that they do have a voice, that they can speak out against this. And Merkel, this will be her legacy. Oh, and this will be her legacy. I
agree. And this is all, to me, perpetrated by lies in the media and by the government about why we go to these wars.
Our fellow info warriors across the United States and across the planet really love the Hillary for Prison 2016 shirts that we began to put out in 2015. It became a global meme against globalism and corruption, and a very strong maxim that's now being continued on today. So we now have George Soros, because the media attacked me on this whole goblin meme, and they've made huge jokes about it, but it's totally blown up in their face. We now have George Soros as a goblin on the back, and it says with a cross through him, an X like Ghostbusters, no Soros, him as a goblin. It says deport Soros on the bottom, and on the top it says InfoWars established 1996. So it is a limited edition, deport Soros on the back, Hillary for Prison on the front, right-hand shoulder, Infowars.com. It's powerful. Hope you get out to everybody you know. InfoWarsStore.com or call 888-253-3139.
In case you haven't heard, InfoWars has become the most influential media outlet in America. We're making freedom go viral. And now we are proud to announce a new weapon in the epic battle against the globalists, InfoWars Prime, where you can watch live high-definition feeds of The Alex Jones Show, plus exclusive insider videos from the InfoWars crew and behind-the-scenes action. Go to Infowars.com/app and download today. InfoWars Prime is available right now for your iPhone or Android. You will have access to exclusive videos that you can't see anywhere else. And that means live coverage of events and breaking news on location as it happens. You can also take advantage of amazing deals from the InfoWars store that are only available for InfoWars Prime subscribers. That's InfoWars Prime at Infowars.com/app. And if you can hear my voice, you are the resistance.
Well, it turns out the FBI, they were able to verify that Huma Abedin's emails, they contain classified information that was sensitive, which is a felony, and that she was using this laptop. They also fear that it may have been hacked. This is what the FBI released in an affidavit, directly quoting here. There is probable cause to believe that the correspondence between them located on the subject laptop contains classified information, which was produced and is owned by the U.S. government. The subject laptop was never authorized for the storage or transmission of classified or national defense information. So it looks like Bill Clinton and all of his bickering that James Comey actually cost Hillary Clinton the election. While there is some merit to the fact that Comey's reopening of the investigation when he sent that letter to lawmakers in October and he said, look, we've decided after clearing her of the email scandal, if you will, he decided to go ahead and reopen that investigation. It's because they believe these legitimate concerns, which they've actually verified. Now, Owen Schroyer, he did an article update over this morning. Check it out. It's on our website, where he talks about how this judge's order, they ordered that the FBI site contain the release of these documents. Just warning you up front, they're heavily redacted. But what we do know is that they most likely were swapping this classified information, which is a felony, by the way. And that's most likely the reason why Director Comey decided to go ahead and reopen that investigation, despite all of Hillary Clinton saying that she's done nothing wrong, that these emails, nothing to see here. That server, it was not authorized legally for legal use, and they were using it despite that. Now, the FBI's fear that the laptop may have been hacked, containing these secret emails. You know, we've heard a lot of information in the news lately regarding the hacked election. We know that the mainstream media, they're asserting that our election was hacked by the Russians, when in fact, more than likely, and they're not saying who hacked Huma Abedin's laptop, but that it may have been hacked. Now, that doesn't indict a foreign government, mind you, but it does leave very, very sensitive classified information susceptible to our enemies. And speaking of which, we know that we're living in a very hostile time here. And we've seen the recent death of a Russian ambassador, Andrei Karlov, in Ankara, in that museum, that modern art museum, at the hands of a Turkish policeman, shouting Allah Akbar as he murdered him. And Putin, this article coming out in the Daily Star, it's asserting that he's actually fearful for his own safety. He's telling Secret Service to boost security at home and abroad in light of the Berlin massacre with the lorry truck killing 12 and this Russian ambassador. Now, here's what we know about this, that in response to this, he's ordering Secret Service to boost the security at his personal home and abroad because of the killing. He goes on to say, and I'm translating this from Russian to English, I ask that special services take additional measures to ensure security inside Russia and outside, to raise the security of Russian institutions and employees abroad. Now, we understand that diplomats are targeted. We saw this horrific incident regarding Benghazi, and our own ambassador, Chris Stevens, he was brutally murdered along with 3 other Americans because of his position, arguably. And this is no different. We see this ambassador targeted, this Russian ambassador, and you know, it's very telling of the state of things currently and the fact that these diplomats are so susceptible. Now, moving on to the envoy that killed 12 people, the lorry truck that killed 12 people in Berlin. We know a lot of information is unfolding about that attack. Now, just an update for you. The Berlin police, they're saying that they've released the suspect, the 23-year-old Pakistani, that they don't believe they have the suspect. And to add insult to injury, it looks like the man responsible for that crime is still on the loose.
Well, we've all heard about the terror attacks that took place yesterday, both in Berlin as well as the Russian ambassador to Turkey being shot in an art exhibition. But you might not have heard that there was another Russian diplomat killed yesterday. He was found dead from gunshot wounds at his home just hours after the news broke of the assassination of the Russian ambassador to Turkey. Owen, do you have more on this?
Well, obviously, the skeptics are wondering, is there a tie? Is there a link between these two deaths? Obviously, the link is the Russian diplomacy. The latest victim, Peter Polshikov, 56, was discovered with a bullet injury to his head at his flat in Moscow. And this is according to local media. So another Russian diplomat dead. That's 2 in the same day. We know that ISIS is basically saying they're going to come after Russia for trying to spell their movement in Syria. But perhaps, is this related to that? Is this related to something else that we don't know of? Or is this just a lone wolf attack? Nonetheless, though, it's funny because there seems to have been kind of a mainstream media blackout to this story.
Right.
Despite the fact that obviously the well-publicized story that we have the video of and everything got so much attention, and rightfully so. But this Russian diplomat who was found dead kind of just gets swept under the rug. So,
well, of course, this is taking place in Russia, though, so they're not going to just let this information fly free. You know, they don't have a free and open press, regardless of, you know, how much we might appreciate what Putin is up to at times. But of course, you know, is someone trying to send him a message again here? You know, they assassinated one of his closest friends. His driver was killed earlier. And then, of course, this happened when they were supposed to be holding talks to, you know, between Russia and Turkey. So.
Well, there's a lot of questions about this, obviously. We don't have all the answers. We'll continue to monitor this at Infowars.com. But, you know, this story to me just really shouts, and of course, on top of the gunman in Turkey, just tells you the crazy times that we're living in. You know, who knows what's next? Who knows who's trying to kill who out there? Another Russian diplomat found dead.
Right. This is, I mean, this is just kind of going beyond the pale there of the diplomatic protocol that people follow, saying, look, you know what? We don't like we're sending you a message. And so who ordered the hit again? So a lot of conspiracy theories are floating around on the internet of like, you know, was this guy tied to the CIA? Was he sent in by the rebels? Is he, you know, Gulenis? Like, what is it? So this is very interesting. And who knows if we're going to get any more information about this Russian diplomat. But something that we can move on to here, the Black Panthers actually held a human rights tribunal in Sherman Park in Milwaukee, some armed with guns. They marched through the neighborhood to protest what they called the genocide of African Americans at the hands of law enforcement.
Well, look at this. And, you know, these are issues that are so polarized, and it's even tough for us to cover this stuff without adding to the polarization of the issues, because these issues have been so politicized. But here's the thing about this. As you said, they're protesting what they're calling the genocide of African Americans at the hands of law enforcement. I mean, to me, that is just absurd. As you can see the video here of them marching. Look, some of them are open carrying. I fully support that. You know what? I'm a Second Rights Amendment activist. None of them were violent, according to all these stories. Now, I completely disagree with the protests, the genocide of African Americans at the hands of law enforcement. We all know that there's problems in police. Believe me, I'm not going to sit here and tell you all the stories that I've had with police, okay? But if you're going to protest genocide against any group of people, you should be outside of the abortion clinics. I mean, this is such a joke. And then again, okay, here you go. This was said by, I guess, the leader of this movement, the leader with the Revolutionary Black Panther Party. This is genocide. It can't go on. Any other country, any other people who would be declared as such. That comes from Dr. Ali Muhammad. Well, Dr. Ali Muhammad. I mean, give me a break. Dr. Ali Muhammad, really?
Well, I don't know who is in charge of their open carry policies there, but that's like the way they're even carrying those weapons is inappropriate. It's threatening.
Well, Sheriff Clark might know something about that.
Yeah.
And he's a second rights activist. So again, I'm for their Second Amendment. I'm for their First Amendment. Just get the protest right. That's all.
Well, also, too, don't carry your guns through the street on your march in a threatening way. Let's move on to this Mormon WikiLeaks website that launched. And so this is a new online venue launched, and they hope that they're going to have some transparency targeting what happens behind the scenes at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Well, and here's the thing. I wonder if this is something new that's going to catch on. Is this kind of a self-cleansing thing, a self-organic way of putting the eye on corruption or making people scared of being corrupt within organizations? Is this, you know, so now you've got Mormon WikiLeaks started by Ryan McKnight. So is this something that we're going to see? This is to keep an eye on the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Is this something we're going to see popping up? And before we sign off, I think it's very important that we mention Pastor Andrew Brunson, who's been accused of being a member of a terrorist group 23 years after establishing his church in Turkey. This is a man who has been pointed out for being a Christian, starting his church, and he is now being jailed and held against his will, unable to be in contact with his family. Our prayers go to Pastor Andrew Brunson. There is a petition you can sign to try to raise awareness for this.
Well, hopefully we can get the president's attention off of his golf game enough to help these people. And thank you so much for tuning into the show tonight. We'll see you here again tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central.